What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 45 of Week in Review. My name is Sean, and on this week's show, we're going to talk about one movie, one limited edition item, and we'll look forward to this week's new releases. This week's movie is Can You Ever Forgive Me? A movie that I put on my 5 I'm excited for quarter 4 list, and a movie that I thought was supposed to come out in late October, but we didn't get until November 16th, which I'm just glad we got it at all, because this is easily one of my favorite movies of the year. And it checks a couple of boxes that kind of work for me, or work in my favor. The first box it checks is it's kind of a quirky, weird, true crime story, which is kind of odd and interesting and definitely had my attention. The second box that this movie checks for me is taking an actor that I normally really enjoy and putting them in a different type of role. Melissa McCarthy is the actor in this case, and normally she does like loud and boisterous animated characters. And this is like a much more nuanced role, and it shows how much like she can do. Like, she has range, she can do stuff that's more dramatic, she can still nail the funny moments that are supposed to be nailed in this particular movie, and give a performance that's interesting beyond just like, wow, she's loud and funny. I think honestly she's best used in Paul Feig movies, in Bridesmaids, The Heat, and Spy, even though I think The Heat's the weakest of those three. I think that's where she excels the most. I really enjoy all three of those movies, and her performances in them are very, very good. But this is something different, and it starts by her being a completely unlikable character. And that's kind of the weird twist with this as well. And if you've watched this show, you might notice a slight trend where I like characters that aren't necessarily 100% good. I think it's more realistic to have like a little bit of a darker side to them. Like, so far my favorite movie of the year has been Love, Simon, and in that particular movie he acts very selfishly at points, and he's a jerk to his friends, and he uses them and puts them in bad positions to benefit himself, like very, very selfishly. In this movie, the character that she plays is unlikable from moment one. Like, she's just a jerk. Straight up a jerk, and there's never really a reason to root for her. But what I think this movie does a really great job of is at least explaining why maybe she's a little bit frustrated. She's a very selfish character who doesn't really want to play the game of being a writer. She wants to disappear behind her work, and she wants her work to speak for itself, which like makes sense. That's a logical sort of thing. If she wasn't such a jerk, that wouldn't be such a problem. If she wasn't such a hassle and a headbutt to deal with, it wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world. They mentioned Tom Clancy early on in the movie and how he bends over backwards. He does every book tour and every radio interview, and he does all this stuff to get his name out there, but she's not really willing to play that game. So what that does is it sets up a series of events where we have a character that we don't really like, and we watch as this terrible character makes terrible decisions. And instead of like rooting for her and being like, you really need to stop and like just do something else, like figure out another way to like avoid this situation, I watched with fascination as she continued to make poorer and poorer decisions and continued to treat everyone so recklessly for her own selfish gains. And that is why I like this movie so much. It's a different sort of thing. Last week I talked about widows, and in that movie you're rooting for them because you like the characters. In this movie, you're just like, I was glued to the screen just going like, how shitty of a person are you? And how far are you willing to go? And how many people are you willing to fuck over to get to your ultimate goal? I loved it. I think that this movie is top to bottom great. I really like the score of this particular movie, which is something that I don't necessarily usually point out. Like, movies have good soundtracks, but it's not ever something that really sticks with me. I love the score of this movie. I think the acting across the board is fantastic. If I had like a couple of like nitpicks for it, I would say that it's unclear how long this lasts. Like, the time frame is unclear. I think it's just for like a winter maybe, but I'm not super sure about that. And there's an element towards the end of the movie, there's a little bit of a plot line that shows up that seems to not really have much of a resolution, but I wonder if that's the point, because it seems to want to, instead of like that being its own thing, it seems to want to show how that pushes her even farther to do something even worse than what she's already doing, if that makes sense. So it's a weird thing where like, it makes sense in the context of the movie, but after I was done watching the movie and I was walking around, I was like, they didn't really finish up on that thread. But as I thought about it more, I was like, well, it didn't necessarily affect the outcome of the movie, or as far as like it neither of these things really take away from anything. Like, I think this movie's just so great. I don't think either of these things take away from it. But it was one of those things where I was like, I wonder if they added just like 3 more minutes or 5 more minutes, if they maybe wrapped up a couple of threads or showed the investigative process a little bit more, like just a little bit. You don't have to, I mean, you don't need a whole expose on it, but just like a little bit more. It maybe could have added a little bit to it. I don't know. The fact that these are the nitpicks are really showing like how much I like this movie, where it's like, I've had it a couple of times this year where I'm like, I really enjoyed this movie. And as I was thinking about it an hour or two after I left, I was like, oh, this thing could have been like maybe tweaked a little bit or whatever. But then I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I still really enjoyed the movie. It didn't affect it in the time that I was watching the movie. It was well after the fact. So I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. This is easily, like I said, this is easily one of my favorite movies of the year. I loved it. I think this movie features Melissa McCarthy's best performance. Maybe you could throw Spy into that category, but this is an absolutely fantastic movie that I urge you to go see. I think it's great. The holidays are in full swing, and the fine folks at Mountain Dew have brought us a holiday limited edition Holidew, which is a way better way to phrase that. So it's the new Mountain Dew Merry Mashup. It is cranberry pomegranate flavor with other natural flavors. They brought out like a 4th of July dew that was just like a bunch of extra dew that they had. They're like, hey, we can cram these in bottles and sell it, and idiots will buy it. And then I, of course, bought more than I would care to share. So we have the holiday limited edition. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, because I have to do this with every drink, is take the label off, because it just has to come off. It has to. It's nice, this nice red. I found the one drink, the one item that isn't a big pain in the ass as far as the audio is concerned, and then made it a pain in the ass as far as the audio is concerned by taking the label off of the drink. So here we have it. It's this nice red. It has a little green cap. It's very Christmassy, very festive. Cranberry pomegranate drink. So we'll crack it. Ooh. Doesn't smell all that. There's nothing special about the way this smells. So we'll go ahead and take a nice drink. That's not bad. It's not great. You can definitely taste the cranberry. It works well with the lemon lime flavor. I guess I don't really know what Mountain Dew tastes like. I just drink it. It tastes good. So I don't know. That tastes really nice. I think Mountain Dew works better with like berries than it does with like if you look at the black label or the dark berry, which are I think the same thing. Those are the better types of Mountain Dew rather than like the apple or the God, what was the other? There was like a really awful one they put out. I should know this. They call me Mr. Mountain Dew. No one calls me that, but the hell, there was like another flavor. It doesn't matter. The white label just tastes like 7-Up. Who knows? Yeah, this is pretty okay. I don't imagine I'm gonna buy a ton of these, but I mean, it's not Baja Blast. So basically, like the limited edition Mountain Dews are the discontinued Dark Berry, which I think is just Black Label at this point at number 1. Baja Blast at number 2, which technically is Taco Bell exclusive, but we'll throw it in the conversation just for fun. And then that's really about it. None of the others really stick out to me. Usually about twice a year, I end up buying a Livewire at some point thinking, man, I really like Orange Mountain Dew. And then I drink it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I don't actually like that. So this is like a formal video to myself to say, hey, Sean, 6 months, you doing well. You're looking good. Your show's doing really well. People really enjoy it. Don't buy Livewire. Okay? Just don't. It's bad. You don't like it. Instead, buy the cranberry. It's not available now because it's 6 months from now is May. So, I don't know. Maybe that means Baja Blast is right around the corner. Just don't buy the Livewire. That's the point. As for right now, as of 11/25, this is pretty okay. I don't know. Try it out. Yeah, cranberry tastes fine. Cranberry pomegranate. I don't really know what pomegranate tastes like. Makes me sound real dumb, but that's okay. This Mountain Dew is fine. You can't tell what it is because I took the label off, but it's the Holiday Dew or Holidew. Mountain Dew. Pepsi, get in touch with me. Marketing. You can also sponsor the show if you'd like. Enjoy the cool, crisp taste of cranberry Mountain Dew. Get dude! So there you go. Another holiday limited edition for you to enjoy. Finally, on this week's show, we'll take a look at this week's new releases. Not a ton this week, which makes sense. Last week was really, really big as far as movies and games were concerned, so things are a bit lighter this week. Searching was the only movie I noticed coming out on Blu-ray of any sort of interest. I missed that in theaters, and I'd like to check that out as part of like a catch-up sort of thing. Nothing really stuck out in theaters, and then Darksiders 3 was the only game that I really noticed that felt noteworthy. I don't know. I actually want to play Darksiders 3. I played the first one, and I don't think I ever played the second one. I liked what I played of the first one. They've remastered both of them for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. The game looks cool. The main character looks cool in Darksiders 3. There's also a bunch of digital stuff out, but nothing really stuck out. And that's been the theme over the last couple of weeks. So like, hey, here's like 15 digital titles. None of them really do anything. So I don't know, pretty light week as far as new content is concerned. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Week in Review. If you like the show, let me know down in the comments below. You can also let me know what you thought of Can You Ever Forgive Me? Are you going to try this Holidew? Are you not? What are you looking forward to? What hype trains are you on? You can let me know down below. While you're down there, leave that comment, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video, and be sure to check back every Tuesday for more Week in Review. See you next week.